So what we have to do is get the seat in the proper position for you.
Right.
Okay? So it's your lever underneath.
Well, that's what I want. I've lifted that up on its fine.
If you put your hand on the top of the steering wheel, okay, and then you can adjust the seat backwards or forwards. You can pull yourself up with the steering wheel. Okay? Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to put your left foot on the left pedal. Just lift your left foot up and press it right down on that clutch. Okay? Right, so you need to go forward a little bit.
Yeah. Reach it.
Okay. What I'd like you to do is to have a nice, relaxed sort of bend to your legs. So not really stretching down.
Stretching a bit, yeah.
Okay, so I think you need to move your feet a little bit more forward. Okay, now test it. That's fine. Alright?
Yeah.
Relax your foot. Okay. Right, also the back.
Right.
The back of the seat. If you can you put your wrists on the top of the steering wheel quite comfortably?
Yeah.
Okay. And can you show me that you can go around?
All right. Yeah.
Right. So the seat's in the same sort of position for the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that? No obstacles or anything?
No, it feels okay.
Okay. Right. Your head restraint. They're actually there to prevent you from getting a neck injury or head injury.
Right.
Okay. So the best way to test they're in place is to put your hand on top of your head, and if you can feel it, then that's fine, and at the back of your head, and if you can feel it, that's fine. Okay?
Yeah.
I'd like you also to give your seat a little jiggle as well. Okay. And that's just to make sure that you don't fly backwards when we're driving.
Why do you do that?
Because sometimes, especially in older cars, sometimes you think you're in position and that extra click hasn't been made, and when you drive along, it sort of flings you back, and that's obviously not very safe.
No, we don't want that. Right, okay.
Alright? So you're happy with that?
Yeah.
Seat's nice?
Yeah.
Right. Now for your seatbelt. There's a way to put it on as well. You remember the way I asked you to take it off, nice and gently, back, feed it back. As you pull it out, Blaine, I'd like you to run your hands down it to make sure there's no tears in it or knots or anything in it, okay?
Right, okay.
And then it goes across your lap, and I don't want any twists in it.
Right, okay.
So there's going to be no twist in the seatbelt, because if you had an accident, it would dig into you if you had to use it properly. Alright? And secure it into place in the buckle, and then give it a little tug just to make sure that it's in, because sometimes it doesn't click in properly.
Alright, okay.
So can you do that with your seatbelt? Run your hands through, no twist. Good, no twist. Put it in across your lap, no twist, and give it a tug to make sure it's secure. Right, alright? So it's your responsibility as the driver to make sure that everybody under the age of 14 wears a seatbelt. 14 and under, it's your responsibility that they wear a seatbelt.
Right.
Okay? Morally, I would make sure that all my passengers as the driver had seatbelts on.
Alright.
But you don't have to get into an argument with them about it if they don't. So anybody, you will get a fine if anybody 14 and under aren't wearing a seatbelt.
Right.
Okay? So you happy with that?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. The last thing then, so we've been through the D, the treble S, the last thing is the mirrors. Okay? So this mirror here, the middle mirror, that we use all the time to look in to see what's behind us.
Right, yeah.
Okay? From this mirror, the right placing of it, you should be able to see the top and bottom of the back windscreen in it.
Right.
And you should also be able to see the head restraints just slightly in the two ends.
Oh, right, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And to adjust that, to your, just hold it with your left hand and give it a, don't put your fingers on the glass, just move it until you can see that.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah, okay.
Okay? So, talking about the middle mirror, this is flat glass. So, as it's flat glass, it shows us the true distance of what's behind us.
Right.
Okay? So if we're overtaking something or that car here, if you turn your head round and have a look at that silver car, yeah, in front of that lamppost, if you have a look in there, it's the same distance. So we know that's, we know that that's exactly where that car is.
Right, okay.
Okay, in the two side mirrors here, you should be able to see just a little bit, like a thumb's width of our car at the corners like this.
Right.
If you can have a look in your side mirrors.
Yeah, and then that's all.
Yeah, and the rest you can see down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the same in this one.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Now, these mirrors are called convex mirrors.
Right.
Which they mean they're slightly curved. So as they're not flat, they're not showing the true distance.
Right, okay.
So if you have a look at that car behind you, if you turn your head and look at that silver car, okay, now look in your mirror.
Yeah.
And you can see it, and it
looks a bit further away.
That's right. Those things appear further away than they really are.
Right.
So it means they're closer than they look. Okay? So that car really, if you looked in there, that car's really closer than it appears in the mirror.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's right next to me, but
it
looks like it's down the road there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's further away, it's closer than it looks, so it's, no. Yeah, it's closer than it looks,
it appears further away.
It appears further.
Yeah.
I can't remember that.
So what we have to do is we're always looking at these mirrors because they show us a better view. They show us more of a view behind us. However, not a true distance. So when we check those mirrors, if we see a cyclist or anything in those mirrors, then we've got to remember that they're closer than we really think they are.
Yeah.
Okay? So if we saw one here, what we would do is give way to a cyclist because they would soon overtake us. We wouldn't try and cut into their path.
Right.
Okay, you're probably aware of that if you've been cycling.
Yeah.
People try and do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's because they're not looking in their mirrors properly.
Right.
Okay? Now you've also got a blind spot. These mirrors show this distance behind the car, all of them together, the middle mirror and the side mirror show this distance in the blue. Now, that means everything in the white over here we can't see from our mirrors. So we've got a blind spot from our mirrors.
Right.
Okay? So if you have a look at that palm tree in that garden there, if you look in your mirror, can you see it?
No.
Right. So if you can imagine, if that was a cyclist coming down the road and we pulled out without checking our blind spot, so that means checking over our shoulder quickly before we pull out.
Oh, right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because if that was a pedestrian, a cyclist, another car, a motorbike, then we wouldn't have seen him and we'd probably hit them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why it's very important. Okay? Happy with that?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions just very quickly, just to summarise what we've done.
Right,
okay? So, with the doors, whose responsibility is that? To make sure they're all secure.
I'm not sure.
Right, it's yours. That's the driver's responsibility.
Yeah, okay.
And when you're checking the doors that are secure, what else do you have to check inclusive in the doors? What's included in the doors?
The boot.
That's right. Okay, that's fine. With your seat, in order to make sure that it's firmly in place, do you remember what I asked you to do?
Oh, give it a wiggle.
Yeah, give it a little wiggle, okay. And your head restraints, how do you check that they're in place properly?
Oh, put your hand on top of your head like that.
Yeah.
Put your hand at the back of your head like that.
Lovely, well done. And your seatbelt, your steering wheel, how can you check that there's that it's in the right place for you and there's no obstacles?
You wrist on the top, and then just do that.
Lovely. Cool, well done. The seatbelt, who's responsible for anybody 14 and under to wear a seatbelt?
I am.
Right, well done. And how do you check, once you've put the seatbelt on, how do you check it's in place properly?
Good, it's having a wiggle.
Okay, good. Now you mirrors. Do you remember what this mirror shows us?
Oh, true picture.
The true picture.
Yeah.
Because why? Do you remember what glass it
Oh,
shows?
it's black glass.
Good. Okay. And the two side ones?
They were curvy glass, weren't they?
Yeah. And so, what distance do they show?
Things look further away than they actually are, so they're close to them, but you've got to be quite careful.
That's right. Okay.
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember that.
They're closer than they look.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the